Ken. Had to say that when DP project, they did the environmental hearing over at the Civic Center, there was about 4,000, yeah, a couple 3,000 over at the Civic Center. The place was packed. Now these were union guys, and they wanted this project to succeed. You know who the big stumbling block was? And I'm not going to point fingers, but it was Ron Emanuel, Democrat. It was the Democratic governor, Illinois. It was people from the Obama White House. It was Democratic senators. And these were union guys that were taught for years that Democrats are for the union. Unions are for the working men. Democrats just happened to hijack the union policies and said, we're for you. I gave testimony before and said, we have the technologies to clean the environment. I was talking to an environmentalist, and he said, well, we shouldn't do it in our backyard, but if you do a Google search and you look at the Horn of Africa, huge acreages of land are being destroyed. Out of sight, out of mind. It's okay over there, but not over here. We have all the energy that we can possibly mine right underneath our own borders. Not just in Anwar, but if you look at the news, you type in the Birken Flats, that's oil shale. And out in North Dakota, which is Boomtown, USA, there's people that are getting $20 an hour to clean a house because the guy that has the house is making $80 an hour driving a truck. But yet the news media isn't covering that. If you want to put Americans to work, then open up American fields so that we can drill, we can process, we can deliver. Can you imagine a commercial, not a political commercial, but in your mind, take a look at an oil derrick, and then pan away from that oil derrick to that guy that's constructing the steel girders, that steel worker in the plant. Talk about the guy that is engineering the piping, and you'll see small manufacturers throughout the areas. Talk about the motors. Talk about the windings. Talk about the copper. Talk about the raw materials that has to go into this. You were talking about American jobs for Americans, providing for an American way of life. I'm a veteran, Ken's a veteran, we're at Legion Hall. Does it make sense to buy our oil or be connected to the Middle East that's using that money against our guys when we should be supporting ourselves and getting off this pipeline? Where's the policy? But I'm not running national. But what I can do locally is to say that Hammond has the blue-collar workforce, we have white-collar, we have intelligent people that want to get involved in a process that will do good by us because we all are in it together, not separate. We're all in it together. And the last thing I want to do is drive a wedge of any type between us and where we should be. This thing, Democrat or Republican, is nice, but when at the end of the day, the difference between a depression and recession is that guy that lost his house, he's suffering through a recession. That guy that might lose his house, he's in the depression. So, working with each other, we can lift each other up and out of our own circumstances. Look around. We're spending millions and millions of dollars overseas where we don't have to. That money that's being spent overseas is not being allocated back to the states, which in turn allocated back to the counties, which in turn go back to the local areas, which can stimulate economic activity by creating enterprise zones and giving tax breaks for, when I say tax breaks, a lot of people say, oh my God, you're giving away money. Potash, where they're at now, was an abandoned junkyard and nothing was there. Now we're going to get something out of nothing, whereas before people say, well, you're giving away the farm. Okay, 100% of nothing is what? Nothing. 100% of nothing, and then the next year 10% of something, 20% of the next year. That's capital that comes back into the city of Hammond, which is reinvested into infrastructure, which is reinvested into the businesses, which the businesses turn around and reinvest in more material, and then hire people. So working together, we can solve a lot of our own problems, but it seems that we're more interested in, or some people are more interested in pointing out differences, political differences, cultural differences, but they're more interested in pointing out differences than what we all have in common. Everybody that I've ever met that is a good mother and a good father want better for their kids than what they had. That's part of the American dream. And there isn't anybody, the majority of people that I know of, believe in that. The worst thing anybody could do is try to drive a wedge in there and say, well, I'm a Democrat, you're for this, or you're against that, and I'm a Republican, I'm for this, I'm against that, is driving a wedge into the American dream, driving a stake through the American heart. And I'm here to say that there are more people like me out there willing to stand up and try something new and to make the case. A lot of people say, well, one guy doesn't make a difference. One guy can make the difference by pointing out things on the level and bringing on the heat to make others act. And it's the public that has to get involved. Being realistically, I count numbers myself, and 60%, 65% of the voting population stay home. So you got 35% of the people that are basically making policy for the vast majority that just are either fed up or they don't want to get involved in the process or they can care less. But being involved and looking over any politician's shoulder is the best way that you'll ever have good government. And from a national level to a local level, from a local level to a national level, you need leadership starting somewhere that's going to try to do what is right by you as Americans. And red, white, and blue through and through. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm a Republican because I choose to believe in things that my party does, but lately I've gone against my party and they want me to turn in my executive keyring to them. I've lost the privileges. But that's okay. At the end of the day, I want to do what's right by the community. I have certain core values that I believe in, and I believe that if you want to give somebody respect and they want to get a job, try to match up the two. I know my syntax is way off, but people want to work. They want to do better for themselves. We have the abilities. It's up to you to hold these guys responsible for the actions that they say that they want to promote. Because you look around and you say, what is actually going on in this country? And it all starts at the federal level, but it filters down to the local level. And somebody in the local level is going to offer that leadership that's going to start shaking it up to the top. And it all starts here. It all starts with your local elections. And that's why I'm running for office. Get the vote for 3. There's 5 of us running. Pick and choose your candidate according to what they say, what they know, what they will actually do, and ask them the hard questions as far as how. Because everybody can put together a nice, shiny brochure and make themselves the best links in sliced bread. But when the rubber hits the road, they have to ask that tough question. Why, how, when, how long is it going to take you to achieve these goals? Or what are you going to work on? So, and I know I'm starting to ramble here, guys, but politics is an all-encompassing game. It's always a moving landscape, and I love public policy. Politics is the thing that you have to do in order to get to that state, and it's going to be guys like you talking to your friends to ask them, say, hey, give this person a look, see what they're about, and then vote your conscience. But whatever you do, don't give up your right by just going in and pressing one button because somebody gives you a flyer saying, vote straight, whatever. They're robbing you of your intelligence. And there seems to be a lot of that going on. So stand up for yourselves. Ask your friends to stand up for themselves and just point out the obvious to them. Is this the best that we can possibly do? Can we do more? I say yes, and that's why I'm a candidate for office. Thank you.